Hi, everybody.
No, right? Hello. I'm so excited for you to meet all these ladies and for them to meet you. This is just like a dream come true. So everyone, welcome to our gathering today. We have Francine Marie-Sheppard of the Seers Way and the Academy of Clairvoyance and Consciousness.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm really excited to introduce you to Francine Marie-Sheppard, and she's just an amazing person. I have the pleasure of getting to meet Francine and get to know Francine through my BFF, Linda Light Garcia, who some of you have met spontaneously over the weekend.
I saw that.
I know, isn't that awesome?
So cute.
So cute, so cute. And so I've had the pleasure of knowing Francine for a couple of years now. We haven't had a chance yet to play as much as we'd like in person, but that's on, that is in our big Seers vision.
Correct.
Right?
There's a few thousand miles that are an issue. 6,000 or so.
Yes, exactly. So Francine is currently residing in, is it Vienne, France?
Vienne is the department, yeah.
Okay.
France, yeah. Sort of West Central.
West Central France. Okay, so she's coming to us from across the globe, internationally, from Europe. So we're just so happy to have you here. And I just wanted to let you know that Francine is the founder and director of the Academy of Clairvoyance and Consciousness, and over 20 years as a practicing seer and mentor and teacher. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, so we're
an old dog.
And she has dogs, and she has gardens and roses, and she's a world traveler, mentor, teacher.
Yes.
Right? Lived all over these the most magical places like Bimini, France, and you have to fill me in.
Portugal, Caribbean.
Yes, so she's been like, you know, pretty much scouting out all these wonderful retreats that she's going to take us on. And so she's already put her energetic, like, grounding cords into these lovely places that she wants to open our eyes to experiencing the beauty of our world. So I just wanted to introduce Francine. So welcome. So excited to have you here. And we're really, really blessed, ladies, because Francine is extraordinary at what she does. And so I just want to bring it over to you, Francine. Tell us more. Tell us, what is the Seers Way and what does it mean to be a seer?
Yeah, you know, recently I started calling myself a seer because it's, I don't know, there's a mystical element that's got a historical context, but it has a lot less baggage than clairvoyance. Mm-hmm. You know, when I first came out as a clairvoyant,
out of the closet,
I lost some friends because they were like, "What?" You know, I mean, they always knew I was weird, but the clairvoyant word immediately seems to put people on guard. Not other clairvoyants, but you know, and over the last 22 years or so, it really still hasn't lost its baggage. And so I thought, well, you know, let's kick it up to a little more fun and make it about being a seer. And that is, I think that resonates more for me as also being kind of related to visionary. You know, I'm a very creative person. We're all creators. And the seer has kind of a legacy of visionary to it, or envisioning. And so I really wanted to kind of bring that focus more to it, whereas clairvoyance has a lot of the like crystal ball, or you know, the psychic hotline.
right. So
which didn't bother me for you know, it never bothered. Still doesn't bother me, but I just thought, this is a new way of going about it. And then I started writing a book, and it's called The Seer's Keys.
Ooh.
And well, hey, you know, and I've been working on that for a while. I'm like, well, why don't I just use that word all over the place?
Right.
Yeah. It's a lot shorter too.
Right. It's easy to remember.
Fits on a t-shirt.
Exactly. And I remember, just as a little background, sharing with Francine when I first was jumping in and creating Lunar Ladies. You were so helpful as we were talking about it and grounding the business like vision, right? The creation energy in the space. And I just remember you sharing with me, letting people, it's Shannon, you're going to be knocking on people's like third eyes and waking them up. And, at that point, we might wake up to like either a past life where we may have had these skills and it didn't go so well. In those right, just to put it gently, right?
It's only 800 years of Inquisition, no problem.
Right, exactly. So you were so cute in reminding me of like, well, just be aware that this is a possibility that these old memories may surface when you start saying follow the moon and open up to your clairvoyant, or your intuition and your skill set. Yeah. So I was so thankful that you shared that with me.
Well, we're all evolving that way anyway, right? I mean, we're all whether we like it or not, every single person is kind of evolving back to our original wiring for our intuition. And I mean, we're intuitive creatures and there's no two ways about it. So, and whether we like it or not, we're all becoming more conscious of that. It's like when I go like this, it's because this symbolizes all those planetary shifts and
yes,
all those growth periods that have been happening in the last 20 years. We're like, like especially lately when you're like, whoa, it's a roller coaster. Part of it is about awakening back to our original consciousness of being a being in a body. And we're naturally wired for all the intuitive skills. It's just, usually as we're socialized, as we grow up, we're punished or we're encouraged to suppress all of it.
Right.
And so really it's not a matter of like, you have to grow the sixth chakra and fix it. You just have to release a lot of the blocks. You just have to remember. You have to kind of download your old wisdom and information about using all those skills. So you're not broken. I don't want to say that. That's not true. But it's more like you have everything you need. It's all in there.
It's all in there. And would you say it's a process of kind of removing, those, or giving us more permission to reconnect to that place, to feel safe and to remember all of that?
The best way is, being in a group, in a sanctuary. In a group, you might not always be the one talking or asking the questions. Maybe you're just like sitting in the corner. You're still going to learn because you're going to have common experiences and somebody's going to say something and you're going to be like, I saw that too, or I experienced that too. So it's very validating and safe in a group of like-minded people for sure. I forgot the rest of the question.
Oh, that making, like being in a group and being in that sanctuary makes it feel more safe.
Definitely more safe. And if you have a badass teacher who's
like,
you over there, you're not allowed in. Out, get out.
Right, exactly. So like, especially
like your whole family, no, you don't get to come to class.
Right, all the family beings. Right, because you were saying like when someone says, "Oh, I'm a clairvoyant," and it comes with all this baggage, and sometimes our fear is like, "Oh my God, they can see me. They can see everything. Like this is the stuff I kind of put over there."
Yes, and, that's very good. That's what I was thinking. That happened to me many times in my life, where you're just doing an ordinary chore, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a clairvoyant teacher," and they're like. Like I've had people say like, "Oh, well, don't look at me. I don't want you seeing my stuff." I'm like, "Lady, I'm not interested."
Right.
I don't want to see it. So, yes, people do have a lot of shame, right, or buried pain, or whatever that they don't want a clairvoyant to see. But I don't look at anything without permission. That's one of my ethics. I just don't. I really respect people's privacy, and I think every psychic should, and you should always ask permission. before you
Right.
read somebody. And then when you actually start a reading, you say hello to that spirit, and you say, would you like me to read you? Or would you like, you're asking for permission. You're
Yes.
not going in there. I mean, there are some people who do like remote viewing, and they're very like, I don't know, I think they're very ill-mannered, some of them.
Ill-mannered, that's a nice way to put it.
It can be invasive if you're a sensitive person, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, where's the surveillance drone?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's like, have some boundaries and have some manners, psychic manners. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So
So I that's what I find with your teaching style is that you have this very powerful platform of ethics, why we're doing this, what's it about, how we use this, why it's good to have the skill set. So I'm curious how you would frame or how you would answer, why do we need to develop our clairvoyant or our I like to call them the clairs, right? The clairvoyance, the clairaudient, sentient. Why do we need that today? Like, what's your feeling on that?
oh, you mean like today?
Yeah, like from post 2012 on.
Okay. Well, we know it's already happening. So you could do nothing, and you're getting, what's the word, activated over
Right.
time. And so why not be a little more deliberate and have a lot more fun with it?
Right.
Instead of like, what's happening?
right. Instead of like these sneaker waves coming up behind you.
Right. The next thing you're flat, face down on the floor in your growth period going, I don't know what's happening to me. But yeah, so why not be deliberate? And also, if you're already creative, and you're already seeing images and you don't have any context for it,
Yes.
you're going to have to use it sooner or later because it's happening to you. So, it can be very, I don't want to use the word fun again, but very empowering to, get into that whole conscious creativity space,
Yeah.
Like, let me be deliberate about what I'm creating. And since everything is energy first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not create deliberately on an energy level first, and clear everybody else's energy out of your creation, and really look at it as a frequency, as a vibration. How do you want to change it? How do you want to tweak it? Whose energy do you want out of it? Who's going to be co-creating with you? All these different things you can do just on an energy basis first with your creation before you manifest it. And then it's more truly aligned. It's aligned with you because you've looked at it clairvoyantly. You've made some choices and decisions, So that's one aspect, the conscious creativity aspect. Yes, it's pretty fascinating. So that's
that's just one aspect, right? Because when we realize, you're sharing with us, we all have these skills. We are born, this is our original wiring to be a conscious creator, but it's kind of been blocked in different things over the millennia and lifetimes and things like that, depending on what has happened to us. But I notice, like, when I do the soul purpose readings or a client reading, and I can see in their chart like a very big talent or skill set, either from this life to develop or a last life to remember. I'm so excited for those people who have these beautiful skill sets already like woven into their chart, to wake back up and not be afraid of it, and then have a context for it.
We do underestimate how much fear some people have, and I'm not saying that you'll never hit fear again. It's like fear is part of living on the planet. You think
it's alive.
Yeah, some of that energy sometimes comes through your space, but you can get a lot more seniority over it,
Yes.
Like the word sovereignty, by being able to identify it visually. It's like you can feel the fear, and your body starts to have a reaction to it. But with clairvoyance, you can look at the fear. I don't know if you can see that. So now the fear is out here.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, this is not me. And what is this fear based on? Or what's the root, or how did, you can ask a lot of questions. And you're finding your separation from it. You're like,
right,
oh,
which is key.
Now I can see it. I see it as separate from me, and then I can start to release it. So that's that's just a little part of what you can do with whatever is challenging you. But there are definitely a lot of scary things out there.
Oh my God!
Not so nice people, and there's some beings that are not nice. But I think it's about, if you have to face that, then you have the tools to face it. But mostly you get to a space where you're not even entangling with that kind of thing anymore.
Right.
You're in your frequency, in your vibration, in your truth, and you don't attract that onto your screen,
Right.
unless you choose to go looking for it, then you can find it.
Yeah, it's like right here.
So, but why? So it's about
Right.
choice. Like, yes, this is for me. No, that's not for me. So you're constantly making those navigational choices. I want to go here. Yes, this is my truth. No, this is not. So clairvoyance has, I could say, built into it the ability of separating from, an energy that you're immersed in, but also being able to tell the truth from the lie.
Yes.
That's a potentially dangerous tool to some people, I guess. You can imagine if we couldn't lie anymore and everyone's awake and going, that's not my truth. I think that's a lie, the world would be pretty different,
Right. What else can I choose? Knowing that that's a possible lie in my space, I have free will choice now to choose again as a conscious creator. So I feel like it really takes our vibration and our experience of the world up a notch, like quantum leaps up a notch.
Well, I think it does. You could say that about 80%, I always think around 80% of the games going on the planet, you're just not susceptible to anymore. And that might sound like arrogant or crazy.
Well, there's a lot of manipulation.
True. You're just like, oh, that's so clearly not the direction I want to go, or that's so clearly not my game. That's so clearly not the energy I'm interested in.
Right.
It is a process of uncovering your skills, but it's also a process of knowing yourself, as a being.
Yes.
What's my truth? Why am I here?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? What do I want to give? What do I want to share of my light, and how do I want to share it?
I think that those questions are so powerful and so important, because as I'm watching the star patterns and the cycles play out, what's their messaging, it feels like where humanity, or each one of us as an individual soul, is like coming back to our sovereignty, remembering
that word.
I love that word too.
I love that word.
I know, like, we need a t-shirt. Sovereignty, right? I feel like that's really where this wave of change is Francine and I were joking about like feeling like we're learning how to surf. And learning how to surf like maverick waves. It's not just little tiny surfing waves like baby waves. It's like, no, we're out at Mavericks at Santa Cruz and we're surfing these like giant 50-foot waves. So I feel like what we really need to navigate and have like the most amazing life experiences in our bodies as a being, a creative being, is that sovereign space, the free will choice, and then to remember who you are, why you're here, why you're shining your light, like what's your why? And how can you be of service to, I like to say, I used to say service to others, but it's really, I feel like more now is service to spirit, because that service to spirit shows up in the nice people too, or the not so nice people or beings. They need to find their way to the light too. So instead of separating them out like, oh, you're like evil and bad and weird, I'm like, okay, you just don't have a lot of light in you. So, okay, service to spirit, how can I help?
How would you like a grounding cord?
Oh my God, right?
Free, I'll give you one free.
It reminds me of like this big like monster, and this sweet little girl, you know, like handing the rose over, you know, or here's the grounding cord, scary being. Sorry, sorry, you don't know what life is really about. But here you go. This will help you. Bye, you know, instead of playing that game of separation between good and evil.
Yeah, yeah. We're so programmed for fear. It's very true. It's sometimes as dark as a being can appear, sometimes it just needs to be connected to the light, and it moves on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel that because, you know, the goal, right? Because a lot of what the you know, other seers are saying is that you know, this old world is falling and fading, but recreating itself as something new, moving forward into you know, maybe a fifth dimensional or higher experience of unconditional love. And so how do we show up as powerful women, wise women?
Get in the body.
In the body.
Gotta get in right here.
Right of the head. Right.
You know, you have a physical body and you have an energy anatomy, an energy body. And they're like this, right?
Yes.
They're not, we're told, oh, body, spirit. No, they're like this. It's one.
Right.
And so you know what your body, you're like, oh, okay, this is where my liver is, you know.
Right.
Your energy body, what do you know about it? What can it do? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not find out? And in the center of your head is like the driver's seat. You know, people say it's the seat of the soul. And the heart is like the crossroads between body and spirit. The heart is a very, very powerful space, more powerful than we've been told.
Yes.
But yeah, in the center of your head, parked behind your, I hate to use the car analogy, but
that's okay.
We can say the pilot seat. How's that?
There you go.
But, yeah, in the center of your head is the pilot seat, the driver's seat, you know, control center or whatever, where you can look at anything you want in your physical body and your energy body out there in the universe, whatever. What do you want to read?
What do you want to focus on?
What are you curious about, you know? So I do suggest at some point that people, you know, pick kind of a direction for using their skills. You know, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, once we find out that we have these skills and we get to identify what they are and how to use them, then is that like the more advanced, the next step after that is like you can choose how you want to use them.
Yeah. So you get into the basics of like, how do I get in here? How do I get in here, and how do I clear my space so I can hear myself, you know, so I can hear my inner voice. I can look at whatever I want to look at, you know, and it's about getting in here at first. And then practicing, you know, you learn how to do a basic reading, and you have like a template, and you're going through the process. And the template's like a map, so you don't have to think too much about what do I do next. You don't want to think. You don't want to think in this space. Thinking is overrated. So then you start to practice reading, and then you build your confidence. So,
building confidence is, I think, a big one. So because
talking is important. Talking is important for developing readings. That's why I have a practice space, because and I make people talk in class. I understand. I was like the shyest person you have ever met in your life, probably. I'm still a shy person, but there's something magical about expressing what you're seeing that actually uncorks a lot of blocks.
Yes,
so
I heard that.
For that. Yeah.
Especially for women, the throat chakra is very important. Like when they don't really energetically show up in our space or a group until they actually talk and say their name. Hi, I'm Shannon. I want to learn my skills, right? I remember that I have them. Right?
Well, we've been taught to hide for thousands of years. That hiding is safer. So, you know, that kind of hiding instinct kind of goes with that, all those fear pictures or trauma pictures. Yes. And so when you start talking, you're coming out of hiding, it feels like. Mm-hmm. And like suddenly and especially if you're very sensitive, You're like, I don't want all that attention on me, even if it's a small class. You're like, I don't want 5 people. I don't want 5 clairvoyants looking at me. But as soon as, maybe a few weeks go by, that ends, because, it's too fun, and you realize, oh, it's working, and you're like, what can I read next? What do I say? What can I talk about next? Later on in the advanced class, you have to like, okay, it's been 5 minutes.
Right? I need to take the talking stick away now. You'll get it back.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, talking is very important, and it helps you come out of hiding.
Oh, wonderful. I love that, because I think you experience like a group, or even like, excuse me, an online group. Sometimes we might get a course and like we don't really ever take it or show up fully, but I think when you're asked to share and speak, then you feel like you're really there.
Yeah. And then also the other thing that happens when you're talking, that's funny, I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. When you start talking, suddenly you're like, sometimes at the end of class, I'll ask people to share what they experience or anything they want to share. And they'll start like, well, I didn't really see that much. And, but then there was this thing, and then, oh yeah, I remember, so it helps them actually validate that they saw a lot and then remember too. So.
Right, and we're able to actually translate what they saw and put it into words and make a story from it.
Yeah, it's very, in the beginning, it's very much about you just start describing it. You don't have to know what it is, Right. People come in with such huge expectations on themselves. They're like, I want to see a movie and I want to understand all of it. I'm like, okay, slow down.
The basics. Yeah, slow down.
Don't have to start that like way up high in your expertise on the first day,
Right. Like be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
So I was feeling like with where we are now with the Virgo lunar cycle and moving through the rest of 2019, because there's a big event happening in January, which is Saturn, which contracts, and it's our inner teacher, and Pluto, which is soul, that's come to blow stuff up to transform the energy. And so they're coming together and they're merging as one on January 12th. And so there's lots of, I'd like to know more what that's all about, especially like I can get a sense of what it is for global change, and then what it might be for individually, how it affects us. But I was feeling that it was important, or even imperative now more than ever, not from a fear place, but from, I want to empower all the women in our community to be able to show up for that event in a very strong way. And when Francine was, we were sharing and chatting, and I'm like, oh my God, Francine, this is, and she was like, well, I have my program that I felt called and maybe saw that was going to be necessary and needed. So that's really another way of, another reason why I wanted Francine to be with us during the Virgo lunar cycle, and we just moving from the Scorpio moon, and Francine's a Scorpio. It's just so cool. So she said, when you have a badass teacher in the room, this is a good sign. So I just want to reiterate.
Halloween, I was a good witch. It came so naturally.
Hey, right, you're like, oh, isn't everybody like this? Right, yeah, you're a very good witch. But I didn't want to.
You're right. It's. I think it was July. All of a sudden, it was because I took a little time off to just work in smaller groups and one-to-one levels and write some. I thought it was one book, but
yeah, you're busy writing over there.
It turned out to be more than one book, and I was like, no, please, no. It's taking so long just to do one. But and then I think it was July. I was like, oh, wow.
Something shifted, right?
Wow, yeah. And then
It was those
the
eclipses.
whole Lionsgate thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm getting to work. You know,
We're like, the universe said, teacher, come out.
I kind of sped up my plans. I thought, oh, I'm going to put the book out in January and the course at the same time. And I was like all organized. And
right?
no, what do I know about timing anymore?
Universe had other plans for you.
Yeah, so everything's just like, whop, 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 put it all out in August. So here it is. Yeah.
So
I'm not teaching the long clairvoyant programs in the academy style. I'm teaching programs that are for people to adapt the skill to wherever they're going, in their career or their soul work. So it's more about bringing it to more people than, most of my graduates in the school, not all of them, but most of them wanted to do professional readings, and they're either they're coaching or they're, a healer or something, that they're doing something that professional clairvoyant readings merge as well with. And now it's more about conscious creativity and assisting I have somebody I'm mentoring right now who's an acupuncturist, and she's a graduate of the clairvoyant training programs, and she's merging those two together in a really fascinating way. And, it's going to be really cool to see where she takes it, because she's going to teach, but she's not going to teach the way I teach. She's going to, she's going to merge it with her own way that she's downloading and putting together that works with acupuncture, so it just depends on where you want to take it. And I'm the kind of teacher that's going to help you take it there.
Yes, totally. And I love that you just open the window for all possibilities. Everything is, and then being able to see how this person to direct them in what's their highest vibration.
What they came here to do, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel that, so I want to invite the ladies in our community who, if I've done your reading and you have like a very powerful clairvoyant or Scorpio tendency, or you're a north or south node in Taurus or Scorpio, because those are really like shamans. We need you out here. We need you seeing.
Yeah, we need you to do your work. We need you to not hide anymore.
No, don't hide anymore. It's okay. Especially if you're a Taurus north node.
Afraid, That's the other thing is, there's a lot of other seers and psychic people and clairvoyants and healers. I mean, it's a massive light worker network on the planet. So
yes, there's a massive light worker system grouping on the planet. And I think that's another wonderful element is this is going to take a village, right? To get us over kind of this transform hump and these big galactic planetary waves that are coming. They're not meant to be a little rowboat by yourself. They're meant to be your big cruise ships with lots of people, right? Holding the space and calming the water. Right?
Yes, collective consciousness. Yeah. Yes. We can all calm the waters together, yes.
Yeah.
Or, there are these waves coming, but thankfully, some of them have been more spread out thanks to the work of, I would say, light workers and peacemakers and all kinds, meditators. So it's not like bam, 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 bam.
Right, which it easily could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
it has sped up a little, in the last couple of decades, but we can have an effect.
Yes, we can have a very powerful effect as a group in a sanctuary space, remembering these amazing original essence, having the tools and the structure. So Francine, would you mind taking us through like kind of what is the Seers Keys? Like what is the 8-week program about?
Okay. The Seers Keys, it's 8 foundational tools, like the tools that build the foundation of your, reading space, what I call your reading space. I like to think of like when I'm teaching, I have a certain hat on. When I'm reading, I have a different hat on. When I'm reading, I'm in my reading space. I'm behind my eyes in the center of my head. I'm grounded. I've got my screen, I've got my clearing tools going, you know. So the 8 foundational tools that incorporate building and grounding that reading space. So that's technique and tools. And techniques and tools are both, you know, energy based, right? And then the wisdom keys are like frequencies. Now think about it. You know, you remember those old radio dials? You know, those buttons that be like, trying to catch the right radio. You know, right? Yes. So think about it. You've got all the equipment to tune into the frequency you want to tune into, right? So the wisdom keys are 8 different frequencies, and each of those frequencies has knowledge and information and wisdom in it that you can download when you're sitting in that vibration. And they also activate different abilities and information in your chakras, especially your 7th and your 6th and your 5th. So it's getting acquainted with those frequencies and the information in them, and your own information in them, because you have, and these are not foreign to you. You know, you've been clairvoyant before many times. You know, I mean, you've had a human body many times, and it always comes with a 6th chakra. Sometimes you used it, sometimes you know, didn't use it that much, you thought, because we're always reading all the time anyway. It's just more like being aware of reading and reading consciously, right? So yeah, those 8 wisdom keys have to do with those 8 frequencies, the information in them, the information you download as well, and how they activate those abilities and skills in your chakras. So those 2 things, that's what the Seers keys are: tools, techniques, frequencies, right? And then what else is in there? There's a mentoring session with me. So
I just have to say, like, that is amazing. I've had readings with Francine, and I'm still digesting some of them.
Stop.
It's true. You found the ancestor in the lake. It was so awesome. All these floods, and I'm like, what? So great.
Well, the other thing that's included in the Seers keys is the practice classes. There's 4, and those I threw in because I'm like, everybody wants to just read, you know. A lot of people are just chomping at the bit. Let me read.
Right. I've been waiting for hundreds of years, lifetimes, to get this back.
I've got a lot to say.
Right.
So yeah, so there's practice classes that you can either do during the 2, you know, the 8 weeks as a group, or you can join in January and start some practice classes.
Oh, wonderful.
What that's like. Yeah, it's flexible. So if you're like, I can't do more than 1 class a week, you can delay those 4 till January, you know, starting. I don't say December because, you know, the holidays are.
The holidays, yeah, we get so busy.
So January. So, and then once you have those foundational elements, you're good to go on your own if you want, or you can, you know, maybe you could do a Lunar Ladies practice class or something.
Oh my God, that would just be so fun. I would love that, because I like the feeling of the pod. Francine is also a fellow wild dolphin podmate. Mermaid sister swimmer out there.
Oh gosh, I haven't gone in so long.
No, right? We all need to go. So the pod is so fun when we get together, especially I feel like with the Lunar Ladies community. We're very like-minded, like-hearted, and it kind of attracts a certain group of women who probably have known each other in other lifetimes, but you know, have.
I wonder. Oh.
What's so familiar about you? But yeah, I would be down for like some practice sessions or practice classes together. Because I really, my heart's wish is that there's a wonderful group of Lunar Lady women that want to take the Seers keys, because I'm going to take it and I want to take it with you. So feel into the space. Like how would somebody find their yes if this is a program that, or you know, an experience that their soul really needs?
That's a good question. How would they know?
Yeah.
I can only relate it to myself, you know. I always wanted to be a clairvoyant.
I love your first word was probably clairvoyant.
I mean, I had all these experiences as, you know, growing up as a child, but I had no context. Like most people, I was like, you know, it was completely suppressed. I learned not to talk about any of it. But I'd go to the library. I was like, I'm a book nerd. Love to read books too. Love stories. And so that's one thing my mom did really well. She took us to the library, and you know, these books would just fall into my hands, and there would be like a clairvoyant in there, and I would just like devour that, you know.
The corner.
You know? And then I found the Psychic Institute in the Bay Area where I lived, and I was like, you know, reading their paper and like, you know. And like, oh, I'd love to get a reading there. It's probably really expensive. It's only $20, but I didn't know for the longest time, you know.
Right.
You know, I kind of like circled around it for like many years.
Wow.
And then it was like, ooh, I wonder if they'll let me in the program. Will I be good enough? You know, like so much bullshit.
That we tell ourselves.
I know. And also, you know, I was so suppressed. I was such a nice person, and more quiet.
Right, gentle, like
Quiet.
gentle.
So I would say follow your enthusiasm. If you're listening to this conversation,
Yeah.
I mean, why are you here?
Right, that's a good question to ask. We have like 19 lovely ladies. Like, what's she gonna say next?
Some of them are like, I wonder if I'm gifted enough, or if I would be allowed, or if I would turn out to have the gift. And, you know, that's all nonsense. If you have the curiosity, you're ready. Period.
Right.
The end.
Right.
I can, you know, teachers like me, and there are plenty out there, can teach anybody to read. You know, it's not that hard to learn or relearn or to rediscover. You do have to show up to class and practice.
Yeah.
You know? I can't just go like that.
Right, sprinkle the magical fairy dust.
But, you know, if you have the curiosity, and if you're, you know, you want to know more about the universe, and there's things you want to know more about, you know, you want to explore, and it could be like a very specific focus. You don't have to read everything. You don't have to read people. I mean, for money. You don't have to become a professional reader. Maybe you're a writer.
Right.
You know, maybe you're an architect. Maybe you're a doctor, a lawyer, anything.
Yes.
You can apply it to anything. But if you're like, oh, if I'm going to take training, then that means I have to be a professional reader, and I'm going to have to share my gift with everybody. No. You get to use your skills however you want, you know. I mean, a professional piano player doesn't just like, you know, play on demand. You know, you don't.
Right.
They can choose to just have the skill for themselves. They can choose to do concerts. They can write music. I mean, it's for you to decide how you want to follow that curiosity. But if you have the enthusiasm, the excitement, or the passion, or the interest, why not?
Right, exactly. I love that too, because especially for ladies now who feel like a calling, and they maybe have been in a job for a while, but they feel like they feel this pull to, you know, be walking their soul path, and it might be a coach or a teacher or a creative artist, or, you know, own my own business and do this. You want to like learn how to make that step, or even to see, you know, what it is really wants to be created through you. Or what is the calling that feeling that you have, open up that space and ground it in the body to experience it. I think that this would be a wonderful way to start walking in a higher frequency way.
Yeah, you might find out that it leads you somewhere you didn't expect. And that's your spirit saying, do this, and look what you're going to discover, you know. So what do you want to discover, or what do you want to find out about yourself? You know, it's not about you don't have the skills, or you can't do it, or you're too scared. Those are just limits and blocks it. After a few weeks of permission, allowing yourself and having a safe space and giving yourself permission. After a few weeks of that, you're like, I'm cruising along, and this is not hard.
Right, not hard. So when does your next Seers Key program start?
There's one starting on the 5th of October and one on the 12th.
Oh, wonderful. So there's two simultaneous.
Let me say, the Seers Way program was scheduled for October 5th, and the Seers Keys October 12th. And I think I had in my landing page that I think I wrote, I haven't looked at it lately, that you can start your own group. If you have a group of people that want to do it as a group, then we can.
And how many people need to be in the group? Because I would love to have a Lunar Ladies group. That's my.
That's what you want?
That's what I want to experience in my body. A Lunar Ladies group coming together and having a great time with you.
Sounds good to me.
Wisdom keys, knowledge.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It'd be fun. There's a high level of enthusiasm, and that makes teaching so much easier, because think about it, they say laughter is the best medicine and all that, but I like to say the amusement vibration, it's like the Rolls Royce of tools, because once you're in that I kind of see it as that like hot pink color, but
like your cute hair.
Oh yeah, this is a tool too. Like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be fun, right? Okay.
Oh right.
Pink.
Pink.
Life is supposed to be fun. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So, when you're in a higher frequency, and I'm not saying higher is better. It's more kind of a spectrum, right? It's like over here is amusement and fun and enthusiasm. If you're in there's a whole lot of energy that can't be in your space at the same time.
Can't vibe.
Right? So you start to release energy a lot faster. For a teacher, it's just easier. There's less resistance. So.
Yeah, and more fun for the teacher.
Yeah, I would say 7 to 10 people would be ideal. You don't want too many because, well, I never have too many people because I want people to talk. Because to me, if you're not talking, you're not getting the full benefit of the class. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to give because it's online and I need to be keeping track of like 7 to 10 people, that's about as many as I want to keep track of. There's no cameras here,
That's a major skill set right there.
And people are like physically in different parts of the world, but they're all in the class bubble. And for everyone to have a chance to talk, there can't be too many people.
So you, as an ideal group, would be 7 to 10, and it's on Zoom. Is that right?
Yeah. And we never use webcams unless, like, we'll say hello and then we'll turn off the webcam because your eyes are closed most of the class, so there's no point. But the good part of that is also that you can come to class in your pajamas.
Right. And that's
no makeup.
Right. Hair
like this, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody will see, right? Yeah, so you don't have to get all dolled up before you come to class.
It's very green too. We don't use any gas to get to class.
Yeah, very earthy. Gaia approved, right?
Yes. When I first brought all the curriculum online, back when Skype just came around. Yeah. I was like, because I used to teach more in person, is this going to work, Right. And actually it works really well. It does, because now that there's nothing to look at and there's no like social stuff, like, chit chat and, whatever, which is fine, but it's better to just get to work.
Yeah, right. Get to work. And it's so nice that
just drop in.
Yeah, it feels like those who tend to show up in that space are so, it's not like a random thing. It feels like there's an energy that called this certain group of souls together that have like a bigger, another reason for joining together. That's what I love to see, like, who shows up and why.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool, from all over the world. Like, how is that even possible? Yeah, the virtual world gives us a chance to meet and connect with people that we may never personally ever get a chance to find one another that way, but we find each other in this space. And a lot of times it feels like, oh yeah, we know each other from another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then also when you're reading somebody that's 3,000 miles away, and you get validation for that, you're like, oh my God, this stuff works.
Right.
I can't see them. I don't know who they are. I mean, because I think what would be ideal is if there's if we've got several people in the practice class reading together, that maybe we bring in like a volunteer from Lunar Ladies as well to be read, and so we've got 6 or 7 people in practice class reading somebody who's far away.
Yeah, a lucky volunteer.
Yeah, and everybody's connected and everybody's really in the class energetically. You really feel like you're in the class because you're energetically there. It's not, it's not like, it doesn't feel dispersed, as you know. So you're doing a lot of online work. But yeah, it makes it more real because there's people in lots of different areas reading another person in another area, and somehow it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of our Sea Dog, who's Sea Dog? I don't remember who Sea Dog is, but she's like meeting the Soul Sisters in person. Oh, Corrine. You love Corrine DeWinter. She's hilarious. She's like, she's met a lot of Soul Sisters like in the virtual space, but then she just recently got a chance to meet some of them in person. And she's just like, oh my God, it was so fun because we connected so deeply virtually. And then to make that in-person connection with just like, I've known you all my life, this is wonderful energy. So
I know where you're going with this one.
Oh, you're so clairvoyant.
What country are you talking about? Retreat.
Joey, can you tell us more about your retreat visions?
No, what's your retreat vision?
We have similar visions.
Yes. Well, mine are all about getting together and having fun in person with, learning all about energy tools, intuitive reading, healing.
Yes.
Because there's all kinds of great skills in these chakras, in your chakras, in your information. So playing in person is a lot of fun. And if you're in a foreign country, like Ireland or somewhere, or France, you're going around reading historical sites,
God, that's so cool. Especially if you feel like you've had lifetimes in those areas, or you might have ancestral connections in those areas. Like when you get there with this set of skills and talents.
And maybe some, when you're in person, it's even more fun when an ascended master kind of being shows up, or, or I don't know, there's so many great adventures to be had.
Right. Who doesn't?
And actually, I do have some show up in class too. I mean, they're very helpful.
Thank you to them because they are very helpful.
They are. They're very supportive.
Very, very, very supportive.
And we all have spirit guides, and when you're using your skills, it's easier to hear from them or to work with them, give them orders. I'm just kidding.
I have a job for you to do. Can you go take care of that over there?
Check their resumes.
Right? Their curriculum vitae.
Yes. Like, right? How many lifetimes have you had on this planet? Only one? Oh, I've got a fun. There was this big reader. Oh, you remember Sylvia Brown? Is she still alive?
I think she's passed away, but yes, I love Sylvia.
I was in a bookstore once, and I was like, they have like the sale table, and I'm like, I opened one of her books. I'm like, let me check this woman out. And it's like, and my spirit guide, Francine. And I'm like, what? She goes on how the spirit guide while she had only had one lifetime on the planet, she was so great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm sorry. I want my spirit guide to have like 100 lifetimes here. I want a lot of experience.
Right.
If you only had a lifetime here like 500 years ago, I don't care how great you are. What do you know about today?
Yeah, what could you have possibly learned in that only that one lifetime? I mean, unless they're bringing like interdimensional knowledge.
Yeah, I'm being a little unfair, but it struck me as funny, and it's just about being able to have seniority about that agreement, that contract you have with that guide.
Right, because you want that guide to have Earth experience so that they can help you.
I mean, maybe you want them to help you with a specific area, so you want them to have experience in it. You want to be able to say, also, hey, that's a little too close. You need to be 10 feet behind me, for example. You want to give them your rules and your boundaries.
Right, your energetic boundaries, because our bodies are super juicy. And I would imagine some spirits that would like to help us would really like to experience the body again. And you're like, move over.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
For sure. That's another big lesson coming our way on the planet pretty soon, I hope, because people really need to learn about their what you call transmedium ability.
Yes.
And have some sovereignty or seniority over it too, because they're channeling some junk.
You're like, that's not a high level or a being of a frequency you want to be aligned with,
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people who, I mean, there's actors who are really great channels,
Oh my gosh.
They're not really harming anybody by channeling that awful being into the movie, because that's what makes it a horror movie. But so it's a real skill. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be nice if everyone was a little more conscious of what they were channeling,
Yeah, I think the more conscious we can be moving forward into this new uncharted lands, because I feel like the July eclipses like severed something that was very old. And so that's now in the process of recreating, fading away and recreating itself. And like the energy says, look forward and start creating what you want. Don't be looking back and looking at all the messy stuff.
Or the old structures, the old structures. Yeah, the old way of doing something. The old comfort zones, those are gone.
Yeah, those are like seriously gone. So it's like now you can go this way with all your inherent skill sets.
With your flashlight on.
Right. I want that huge flashlight. And I want to be creating from a place of joy and curiosity and excitement and all those things. Consciously. So I feel like that's everybody's got the golden ticket now to get onto that good ship lollipop and start creating consciously. But one of the things I thought was another like added bonus when you start to work with
Cosmic Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
I'm
calling myself a Galactic Girl Scout because I'm like, I live by the Girl Scout rule. I like to be the one to come in and like, oh, you lost on the trail? Let's come with me. I got a flashlight. Let's go, right? So I want everybody to have their flashlight and be a Cosmic Girl Scout.
Yeah.
For themselves first, and then put the oxygen mask on first, then help the person next to you. So this is really like when you're working with Francine, you're going to be getting your oxygen mask. Put it on, and then help the other person next to you from a place of wellness.
Yeah, I'm sure we have some humanitarians among us on the call.
Yes.
I have no idea what that's like.
Right. I think it's pretty much 100% our humanitarians.
Like, self-care. What's that? Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like you get so excited about work. I can I'm like buzzing on work. Wait a minute. Today I forgot to eat lunch. As you get older too, your hunger signal kind of turns off more. You're like, why do I feel like death right now? Oh, yeah.
Oh, body went into starvation.
Body, what's that?
Right. Oh, that's right.
The energy's so high right now, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's create, right? So late.
Yeah. Let's create. Exactly.
So that's why we have to have an energy practice too. It's like, okay, come back in.
Yeah.
Ground. Reconnect.
Yes, because as things are speeding up, the chaos energy, because that's what we need to, make the transforms happen. We need a little extra energy in the system. So as things speed up around us, we're the eye of the hurricane. We're the slowed down, grounded, open, and in the calm.
Just awake. Yeah.
Awake. That's actually kind of nice out there. It's like, I don't know about you, but I'm standing under a rainbow. Oh, okay. So I want everybody to find their rainbow and be in that space.
Yeah, they're like inner peace. Just go like that right now. Just go. Inner peace frequency. Can you find it? Just sink into your heart right now. Imagining that sacred sanctuary right in your heart center. Breathe. And ground. Just imagine a beautiful gold line of energy dropping from the base of your spine to the center of the planet. Nice big deep breath. Release. And see that gold line of energy dropping through the floor of your building, down through the foundation, the crust of the earth, and into the core of the earth. And it just grows roots. And for right now, just imagine that anything and everything that you're ready to let go of can go down that grounding. Energy rolls off your shoulders. Imagine that as a color, the energy of responsibility or fear or anything that got lit up during this conversation. See it rolling off your back and flowing down that grounding cord into the center of the planet. And then just bring your attention back to that heart space. You can even put your tips of your fingers right there, physical fingers, right on your chest. And let's just pretend, or let's just know that you can say hello to your inner peace frequency, your inner peace information, right there in your heart space. And imagine when you breathe in and exhale, you're giving that frequency, that energy, permission to spread throughout your whole body, lighting up every cell with that energy of inner peace. Okay. Now I know that was a sudden shift, but I just suddenly wanted to demonstrate, like we were talking about all that crazy energy out there, rah, rah, rah. And then boom, we decided to shift, and we shifted. It wasn't a real big, long meditation or anything, nothing fancy. but the energy changed, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you just ask the simple question, somewhere in my heart space is an inner peace frequency, inner peace vibration that I already know, that I already have. And so let me explore it for 30 seconds. And it shifts the energy just with having that intention. So I surprised myself there just doing that. But suddenly you're not really paying attention to the crazy energy we were talking about. We're just now a little more grounded. Not in a restricted way. I mean, it's just, you can just decide like that to shift, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like just in a moment, because it's all we have are these moments. And we can powerfully show up in those moments and do whatever we need to do for ourselves, like you were sharing about the self-care. And then go to that place, that sanctuary place within, and then from there, look around your world again. From that place, the center. That was beautiful.
Oh.
And your voice is so soothing. I was like, oh, I could listen to your voice for a long time.
Oh, well.
Thank you, Francine.
It was nothing. I was just, I don't know. I just decided, let's shift energy right now. And, you know, reading is the same way, same thing. You decide, okay, now I'm going to reading mode or reading frequency. You know, there's frequency information in here about what energy do I sit in to read. And it's, you know, before I do a reading, I don't have to do a lot of work to get ready. I just, okay, boom, now I'm in my reading space and now I'm reading.
Wow. And that's from practice and practice.
I didn't mean to say that. I just meant to say, you know, it's something you can find within yourself pretty easily.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you need to meditate in a mountain for 25 years.
You have to turn into a monk, and you have to do this, and you have to do that.
You have to hold your hands this way.
And you can't eat you only can eat rice.
You can only wear white.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm not sure you're pure enough to read, Shannon.
Oh. Exactly. So we don't need any of all those prerequisites.
No. I mean, we don't need a guru anymore either. I mean, gurus are great for certain things, but in general, the era of the guru is fading out because you can be your own guru, you know?
Yeah, you are your own guru. The guru is within.
You're your own disciple.
Right, exactly. Your own disciple. Exactly. I mean, you can sit with that thought for like a whole day.
So you could say, you know, some people are having a hard time creating an energy practice and sticking with it, you know, and it becomes like this terrible rule, you know, and I should be doing this, and I should be doing that. And it's like, that's when you know it's not your energy practice. You're trying to do somebody else's rules and somebody else's way, and it's like not natural to you. You're not having fun. So time to switch it up, you know, time to create an energy practice that's natural for you, that you like, and that's interesting, and, you know, it's your way, you know. And I think any energy practice you do is great. And it's kind of striking in this year. I've really noticed how many people are struggling with having an energy practice. You know, I call it can be meditation or whatever you want to call it. But it's really about getting in here and being in charge of your space and making choices. And until you give yourself permission to find out what's the best way for you, you know, it's going to be that, oh, I should do it. I have to do it, or I should do, you know, I'm not doing it right, or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
All those things are keeping you from actually having it. All those rules and shoulds are keeping you from having that seniority in your space, from being the boss of your universe. So, you know, it's like, what's it going to take? What are you going to have to do? What are you going to have to create to be able to have an energy practice that lets you be the queen of your universe, you know?
Yes. Beautiful.
So
beautiful.
Find a way. Find your way.
Find your way.
I can only show you the Seers way.
Francine will point us in the right direction and give us our hiking boots and our water and our food to go on our merry way. Yeah, so I'm inviting all the ladies who are curious or resonating, who found their space so quickly within the last couple of minutes when Francine felt the shift and helped you find it. Come and join. Take the Seers Way. And if after that you feel more called and you want to see how you would merge like a professional vibration into that space for yourself, because I would love to go through the whole journey and meet in Ireland or meet in Asheville, North Carolina, or meet in the South in France and be open, be opening this space.
I want to come.
Like, let's hold that as a vision. We've got our tools, our techniques, and knowledge. We practice, we're opening up, and then we meet again in some fabulous sacred place in person.
Sounds good. I'm all for it. I love field trips.
Yeah, me too. Right? What galactic Girl Scout doesn't love a field trip, right?
Well, I'll say this. I'll offer this. If you're curious about any of the training, this is just off the top of my head, and you're not sure, and you want to ask questions, because it's strange. I'm talking to people. I can't see them. I mean, I see you.
No, they're there.
I'm not hearing any, verbal questions. I'm hearing a lot of like telepathic questions, and I want to answer them all. So get in touch with me. I'll talk to you on Skype or Zoom for, at no charge, because that's what I offer to every person who's interested, and I have for the last 20 years. If you want to ask me questions, I'm not here to sell you anything. If I have to sell it to you, it's not working.
Yours, right? This should already just be like a welling from inside that you're like. Yeah.
But if you're curious and you don't want to take the training, but you're still curious, I'm still going to talk to you and answer your questions, because that's my job.
Yeah.
So I'm open to hearing from anybody, and I'll give you 30 minutes of my time, because you're a fellow seer and you're a fellow seeker, and we have to support each other. So
that's right.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy now.
Don't be shy like I was.
Yeah, don't be shy like little Francine when she was little. It's so cute.
No, even when I was first in the Institute, I was like, I wonder if it's okay if I take one of these charts home and look at it for myself.
Yeah. What's the best way for the ladies to get in touch with you? If they're here on Facebook in the group, or like tag you, or
you can message me. You can email Francine at theseerswaytraining.com.
I'm gonna put that. Francine.
You can talk to me on the Astral. I do plenty of stuff up there, but not all night.
Right. You know what we did, ladies, when we got super excited when I posted the event? We woke Francine up at 4:44 a.m. in France.
No, powerful students do that all the time. I'm like suddenly awake, like somebody has a question. Yeah,
so we want to learn like how to like curb our enthusiasm.
No, I don't mind. I really don't mind. I love it. No, I don't mind.
You're so sweet.
I'm so used to it, to all kinds of interesting things. I like it. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, you got that Venus Scorpio retrograde, so I'm like, she's rare breed. She's Thank you for being available in the astral plane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not in the school building on the astral all night. That's all I'm saying. But there are other teachers there.
There are lots of other teachers that hold the space while you get your rest, because you're self-caring over there. Sleeping and eating. Awesome. So I want to invite everybody to look at that space for themselves. And I would love to take the full journey. I want to like do this and get the techniques and the practice, and then I want to go on a field trip. And we've got, Francine's got visions, I've got visions, Linda Light Garcia has visions.
Linda. Another troublemaker.
Totally. I love that. Yes. Linda Light Garcia is going to be showing up more and more. And
You finally gotten her come out.
Yeah, she did it. She survived Zoom. She did it. And but yeah, I love that you refer to Linda as a troublemaker.
Well,
she's very powerful.
One of the directors of my old school called me that a few times. And I was like, me?
Who, me?
What? What does he mean?
You should see these two travel.
I didn't understand for years.
Hilarious. You both look really great in hats and wigs.
What?
I love Linda's pictures of you, like on your vacations you've done together.
Oh, yes. Linda and I have been meeting together somewhere in the world like once a year for a long time.
For a long time. They have the most wonderful photos and stories from their traveling adventures.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're probably nearing the end of our time together. Is there anything you'd like to add or share? Or
I wanted to say about having an energy practice. The other thing, and I'm not saying you need to do it any particular way, but your way. The other reason why it's difficult, because one of my goals this year is to really support people in having an energy practice, because we're more and more aware of being energy beings in a body, and how do we work that energy? How do we work and play with our energy anatomy? So we're so used to the body and the rational mind and physical needs and all the stuff we have to do, working and shopping and cooking and all the body stuff and physical stuff. How come we can't even get 20 minutes for being the energy being in the body, for tending to our energy anatomy? And part of the resistance to that is that, number one, everything you're going to release, like somebody else's communication or whatever, people are invested that you keep that energy with you, right? So they're not interested in you releasing them or sitting down in your energy practice and letting them go. But also it's a deprogramming space, So when we talk about shifting frequencies, there are frequencies where it's easier to deprogram yourself or to let go of certain wiring and programming. It's terrible that we have only vocabulary of machines, but
isn't that
programming, wiring, but
yes.
So as you come out of your meditation or whatever space, there's a frequency shift where you're really in a great space to reprogram yourself or bring in what you really want to work from, bring in the new information, or what are you going to replace everything that you let go of with, so the new information, the new truths and all that. So a lot of the resistance to having an energy practice or meditation or those kinds of frequency shifting activities, a lot of that resistance is about you not changing your programming. You're not bringing in that positive new programming or that new information or that new truth. Don't change, don't write your own rules, don't bust through certain limits. So think about it that way. Whatever practice you do, think about it as when you're not doing it, you're I don't want to say cheating yourself, but you're not giving yourself the opportunity for that positive programming or the positive new information or the new truths that you bring in. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. I feel that I love the release and replace energy. And I know, from my own personal experience too, and then talking to others in our community, is they try so hard to have a meditation practice, and then they're just like, I can't focus, or I just don't have the time, and they don't really know really what that's stemming from. And sometimes we have, I notice, when I look at my own chart, you know, I came in to like bust open my Irish Catholic roots and take a step for the family, right? And so I would have a ton of ancestors going, don't do that. What are you doing? What's she gonna do? Oh my gosh, she's doing what? You know, and they're always like, stop. And so I don't hear that directly, but I get influenced by all of that. And until I realized what it was, then I could look at it in a new way.
Yeah. And also you can't expect when you sit down, you know, in the first 2 minutes to like instantly, you know, everything's clear again. So you know, there's periods of or shifts that go on in your meditation space or your clearing space. So there's a chunk of time where you're just kind of processing and releasing, you know. And then you're shifting, and then there's another shift, and then there's another shift, you know. So you have to be careful of your expectations, you know, like it's supposed to be the same every time. It's supposed to be like this, you know, and I should be able to find, you know, stop thinking immediately or within 5 minutes. And it's like, no, I mean, if you didn't have any other time today to process your whole day, you got to have time to process your day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, your hard drive's slow. There's a lot of junk in there. You gotta delete some stuff.
Well, if you have no downtime in your life or not enough, or just basically processing energy, other than what you do when you're sleeping, you're going to need to process a bit your day when you first sit down. So.
Yeah, right. And it's such a powerful like game changer to develop an energy practice. And even like you were saying, like, it, you know, you come in and you get that hello and you start to process energy rather from the other version of you that doesn't even know energy exists or doesn't know how to process or is just going on empty all over the place. You know, it's a big paradigm shift to like, and it just seeps into this, you know, it's like infuses like you at a cellular level. I just think it's so beautiful. And I love that you're answering the call to help people, right? You're like, I hear the call.
No, but you know, you're answering the call for like 75 ancestors or something, or how many are there? I mean, there's hundreds, thousands.
Yes,
that's pretty nice.
Thanks.
You know, every shift you make, it goes up that ancestral line, you know, and influences.
Yeah.
Then your whole web of influence too is also affected. So that's true for everyone, you know. It's like that drop of water in the pond thing. Every major shift you make has an effect on other people, and usually it's positive. They may not always think so, but
you're like, what? That's not the shift we were praying for. And it's like, no, that's the energy that matches what you were praying for. Okay, so it looks like this in 2019. Don't worry. You know?
Anyway, Shannon, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Francine.
It's always a delight to talk to you.
Oh, I feel this.
I'm sending hellos to all your tribe.
Yay!
How many ever people there are, just sending hellos to them too and thanking them for listening.
Oh my God. And thank you so much you're welcome anytime to come in Lunar Ladies when you feel the call. At any time, just give me a little hello and we'll set it up. Anytime, you're welcome. And
I'd love to come and just answer questions, because I think questions are, I mean, I can guess at a lot of them. I can hear some of them. I can see some of them, but it's great to, you know, give people a chance to voice their questions. So I'd be happy to come back anytime. And all I do is answer questions. That'd be great.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll set that up. We'll find today we'll find a date on the calendar that works for you. And we'll have that. What a wonderful blessing. Thank you.
Thank you for all your good work.
Oh.
I really appreciate what you're doing, Shannon, helping people.
Thank you. I feel so
bright light.
Thank you. I just feel so lucky that I have this opportunity to be able to come in and it's like playing in the cosmic sandbox. It's like I'm so happy there's people to play with. You know, that like speak the same language and want to just have fun in their life. It doesn't have to be a struggle.
That's right. It doesn't have to be grueling to learn to read either. No.
Yeah, right. And I feel like you know, like you were sharing, there's so many, you know, there's teachers out there, but I really feel that you, Francine, have a very special, and I've seen her chart, have a very special.
There you go, my resume.
Yeah, I've seen her
astrological resume.
And she has a great resume, people. Like, if the soul resume is like, so I really feel honored and blessed that you've chosen us, the Lunar Ladies community, to show up and say hello and make such beautiful offerings. And I'm really excited to learn from you and be one of your students.
Great. Well, let's get a group together. I'm ready.
Yeah, so ladies, let's contact us, tag us, direct message, whatever you like, if you're interested in forming a group, and we'll do the Seers Keys together and maybe take the whole journey and wind up in France or Ireland. Can you tell where I want to go? I want to go to France, I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to France, I want to go to Ireland. And then right here.
Well, you know, Ireland's just a ferry ride away, either way.
Right? It's so easy to get lost on the Emerald Isle of just like ancient. To
the Standing Stones. Oh
God, that was so amazing. So they were like, oh, Shannon was last seen at the Standing Stone over at the hill of Tara.
She just went right through it.
So did anybody see where she? I'll be right back. Just go and see what's over there.
A few weeks later, you're like, I'm back.
Wow, that was awesome.
And we'll get to hear all about it.
Oh, the story.
No, okay, well, you know, no worries. We'll bring her suitcase back for her. She'll be back.
Don't worry, Mom. She'll be back. Awesome. Well, thank you. Real quick, is there a deadline to sign up for the Seers Keys?
No, you can sign up till the last day. I mean.
Okay. Cool.
Unless there's too many people. But.
Oh yeah. If there's too many people, maybe it'll be like a wait list or something for the next one. I can't wait.
I know I'm headed for trouble. Lunar Ladies group.
I know, like Francine.
Take it easy on me, ladies.
Right. We're gonna be sending you some like care packages of like what's your favorite foods and what's your favorite this.
Like 10 Scorpios show up. Oh my God.
I know, they're like, yum. You're like, cool. Hi, sisters. See you again.
Oh my gosh. All right, my dear. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us and watching. See you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you again, Francine.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye.